Some of the products has been here for up to 4 months. Generally doesn't dwell for longer than 4 months. A lot of it then gets blended to order for future sales and gets moved from here to co-ops in the various regions. So yeah, and it doesn't necessarily have a shelf life, but the longer it sits in that big sand dune, the more the product at the bottom degrades. Yeah. And Durban, with its humid climate, also it's very hygroscopic. Yes, it's granules.
So all of this is where the 3.4 billion went.
Yes.
So this is the evidence of the 3.4 billion.
This was what you announced.
Yes.
Amazing.
And hopefully in 24 months we will do the same book.
Yes, sir. Wonderful. So we'll come to the investment conference and announce again. Thank you.
Let's move back and get an aspect to everyone.
Yes.
A bit more.
You've got a picture with the fertilizer behind it. Can you see we are fertilized now?
Let us move. Come move. This one. I will now follow Susu.
You may be seated. Thank you so much. So in my ID book, the name I've been given by my parents is Tami Gadibeng. However, whenever I am in KwaZulu Natal, I like to honor my Zulu heritage. Uma wazalelwa kwaMthembu. so I feel home in KwaZulu Natal. However, as I grace the stages globally, I am fondly known as the message architect. This is because I like to break and build words and give them meaning so that we can move nations and humanity forward. How did I arrive here? Last year, I was privy to a promise that was made, and today we see that promise kept. A promise made at the South African Investment Conference that some of you may have also witnessed. That is what we are celebrating here today, because there was a person, a very integral person who had a vision. He stuck to it with integrity, with his family, and also with his team, and saw it through. Integrity. When I break down the word integrity, for me, internal, and grit. Newlyn. And to me, after having researched what they stand for, I've created a sentence for them. N, notable. E, excellence. W, while. L, loving. Y, your. N, nation. Thank you, Newlyn, for being notable excellence while loving your nation. And so with that, Your Excellency, ministers, Premier, Mayor, distinguished guests, we're going to have a great time celebrating today. But to officially welcome us to the beautiful, beautiful province of KwaZulu Natal, please help me welcome on stage the Premier of KZN, Ms. Nomusa Dube-Ncube.
Thank you very much, Program Director Tammy. I wish to acknowledge Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of South Africa, President Ramaphosa, the Minister of Trade, Industry and Competition, Minister Ibrahim Patel, the Mayor of eThekwini Municipality, Councillor Nxolisi Kaunda, the Founder and CEO of Newlands Group, Mr. Rajendra, executives of Newlands Park, the Transnet leadership that is present here, the senior leadership from the presidency, the advisors to the president, business community members that are present, the CEOs of various companies and entities, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, members of the media. Good morning to all of you. Is it still in the morning? Oh, it's an afternoon already. Good afternoon. We are very delighted to welcome all of you this morning to this historic and momentous occasion where we have come to witness the transformation of pledges and commitments into practical and tangible action. Your Excellency, President, just over 2 months ago, on the 31st of January 2024, you were here at the Durban port to launch the South Africa's first shipment and preferential trading under the African Continental Free Trade area. South Africa is certainly repositioning itself to participate meaningfully in this Africa Continental Free Trade area and to take full advantage of the integrated and a single market offered by AfCFTA. But to be successful and attract more foreign direct investment in a highly competitive environment like AFTA and remain viable and relevant, South Africa will have to improve its agility, will have to improve its efficiency, its effectiveness, so that we are able to be viable and competitive amongst our peers. Mr. President, as you are setting sail the first cohort of the industries to participate under AFTA framework in January, we were dealing with constraint at the Durban container terminal at the time. And at the time, we were addressing the challenges of congestion that had built up with a few vessels reportedly waiting longer offshore. Through collaborations and working together with the various industries, I'm happy to report, Mr. President, that today such backlog has been cleared. I'm also delighted to state that Transnet reported a few days ago that the first 10 of the 45 fully assembled haulers have arrived at the Durban container terminal, to our jubilation, Mr. President. And we know that they've told us again that a further 25 of these haulers are also expected in the middle of this month, and the last 10 will arrive at the end of next month. And we are so delighted, Mr. President, because this really is going to be a turning point to the efficiencies that we'd like to see in our logistics in our port. The management at the Durban terminal also indicated that the equipment will enable a better use of the straddle carriers and enhance the terminal's use of its fleet, thus contributing to the improved efficiencies, which will make sure that facilities such as these ones are able to have a quicker turnaround in terms of servicing businesses. So that is what we want to see and hear from our state-owned enterprises. And that is what we wish to put us in the cutting edge of the global competitiveness and improve the productivity of our port. This is also the kind of the pragmatic confidence that you have demonstrated, Mr. President, in the 2018, when you set an ambitious and not what many viewed as unrealistic, when you were announcing your target of raising an investment of over 1.2 trillion in 5 years. And today we are here to bear testament to the full realization of this confidence you have of investments that we've seen coming to our shores. But equally, it brings to practical expression the confidence that the private sector has had to this ANC-led government under your steady stewardship, Mr. President, in our country. And indeed, the presidential investment drive has had tremendous impact on KwaZulu Natal. And as we rebuild and reposition ourselves as a leading investment destination, we had to work extra hard to restore that business confidence that we have boosted over the years. And as a result, we have witnessed, Mr. President, several investments that you've been able to launch here in KwaZulu Natal, including the SABC, including Hester Hennessy and Club Med, Toyota, and many other industries that you have launched as part of these commitments. And we wish to congratulate and also appreciate the Newlyn Group for this futuristic and transformational model rail terminal here in Bayhead, which was birthed when they pledged the 2 billion during the investment conference of 2018. And this is a physical illustration, really, of the infrastructure development that will certainly stimulate our economy of the province as well as that of the country. So this facility for us that you are launching here, Mr. President, is a flagship development and it is expanding our logistic capacity, but also the capacity of South Africa will be enhanced in our global competitiveness. So we are particularly pleased that this investment of Mr. Balkaman chose KwaZulu Natal for this greatest modal rail terminal in Africa. Such investment will go a long way in making our country a global competitive and integrated through a single market, which is an African continent free trade area. So I'm fully hopeful and optimistic that today, as we start the Freedom Month, that we are demonstrating with this actionable, transformational projects that you are launching, Mr. President, we are reaching our critical milestone as we celebrate our 30th of freedom in our country, South Africa. And we are once again taking our rightful place in the stable of the global nations. And we really want to say a big congratulations once more to the Newlyn Group, and we wish you all the best, and we want to pledge our commitment as the province and the government of KwaZulu Natal to ensuring that business environment is indeed conducive for you to grow and have many, many more facilities such as this one. You are most welcome, and congratulations. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you. Thank you so much, Premier, for that, as she makes her way to go and sit down. It is often said that the key to successful leadership is an influence and not authority. If you look at the 5 C's of leaderships globally, they're credibility, communication, commitment, confidence, and creativity. And look, I've only spent very short while with the next speaker who's about to come to stage, but I've seen all the qualities of the 5 C's within him. So please help me warmly, and warmly mean very loud, welcome to stage the CEO of Newlyn, Mr. Raj Balkaman.
I'm still of the old school. I support SABC. Your Excellency, President Cyril Ramaphosa, the Honourable Minister of Trade, Industry and Competition, Mr. Ibrahim Patel, the Premier of KwaZulu Natal, Mr. Nonso Dube Nkube, our Mayor of the City of eThekwini, Mr. Kapai, pardon me, Patla Mokhatla, I hope I pronounced it right, honored guests and colleagues, all protocol observed. Mr. President, at the last Presidential Investment Conference, when we announced a 4 billion rand investment for our Kucha development, I took the liberty of referring you to our earlier pledge in 2019 to build the Newlyn Park Rail Terminal, and requested that you inaugurate this facility when complete. I was indeed gratified and moved when in your closing remarks you referred to our conversation on stage and promised to avail yourself to officially open Newlyn Park Bayhead Rail Terminal. I thank you for honoring and fulfilling your commitment. We truly do. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. President, today is a very emotional day for me. As a little boy, I grew up in the fruit and vegetable market in Durban, in an era where fresh produce was conveyed in conventional but ventilated enclosed containers from the farms to the national fresh produce market. Inevitably, the buyers will delve into details of the train's journey to ascertain if such train was unduly delayed, because that would have impacted on the price they offered for the produce. At that young age, it dawned upon me that the efficiency of logistics will determine the quantum of the revenue that the farmer will get. I was enthralled by the Port of Durban and its rail connectivity to the country's economic engine, Johannesburg. I always dreamed of being part of the business. Regrettably, prior to the momentous change in 1994, non-white South Africans were barred from participating in this sector. Mr. President, despite the enormity of the challenges we have in South Africa today, I am forever grateful to this government for the opportunity that you have given me as a black entrepreneur, to realize our dreams. And for that, we are exceptionally grateful. Logistics is the lifeblood of any economy. It is a key enabler for competitiveness and growth. The cost associated with logistics impacts on the competitiveness or otherwise of a country's economy. And despite the logistics sector's contribution to almost every facet of modern life, in South Africa, the sector has been impacted through a crisis in underinvestment in infrastructure, the unavailability of rolling stock, operational efficiencies below global norms, crime and corruption that impact on efficient operations. The Newlyn Park Bayhead Rail Terminal is the physical manifestation of the execution capability of infrastructure companies, developers like Newlyn. To work in collaboration with Transnet in a symbiotic relationship to address our country's logistics needs by delivering world-class facilities, and this development bears testimony to that. Since I founded Newlyn some 28 years ago, our company's DNA has always been one of developing innovative, best-of-breed, sustainable, and cost-effective critical logistics infrastructure to meet the needs of our country for decades to come. Central to our success has been our agility and ability to involve local communities and local procurement in the development of our infrastructure projects. These values of responsible innovation, sustainability, and shared prosperity shape every investment decision we make. Another important topic to Newlyn, and one that is central to the future of logistics and our planet, is climate change and our place in the energy transition. Mr. President, you will be happy to know that this infrastructure has the capability of supporting the generation of 30 megawatts of solar energy. It has been positioned to meet not only the demands of our clients, but to nimbly respond to the anticipated future TNPA and eThekwini RFPs for solar energy. A bit of lobbying here. To put into perspective, the solar capability of this roof space can enable the Port of Durban to be the first green-powered port in Africa. When I speak to my colleagues at Newlyn, I always emphasize the power of the collective effort and collective intellect. The Newlyn Park Bayhead Rail Terminal is an excellent example of collaboration. It provides an opportunity to bring about socio-economic development benefits for a much larger number of people, and its impact goes beyond the infrastructure and the direct jobs that it creates. Since founding Newlyn, I've worked with Transnet in leasing and redeveloping properties in key logistic nodes. This public-private collaboration, which I must emphasize, has not been easy. But such collaboration is essential to deliver game-changing infrastructure, allow for efficient capital allocation, and most importantly, to create jobs and operational efficiencies to make South African logistics more competitive. Mr. President, mega projects like these do not happen without receptive domestic capital markets in South Africa. I am grateful to the support of ABSA and RMB for the support in bringing this vision to reality. We enjoy the support of all major South African banks as we embark on our future developments. I would be remiss if I failed to acknowledge merchant factors, in particular Mr. Johnny Filippo, for his belief in my vision and availing substantial facilities to the Newlyn Group in my formative years. More importantly, we collaborate with key clients like Steinbeck and Access to fully understand the pain points and design bespoke solutions to make them into better businesses. To Steinbeck Bridge and Access World, I thank you. I will be further remiss in not thanking all the subcontractors appointed who have been instrumental in the various disciplines and who worked so hard to deliver this magnificent project. They have been simply remarkable. Mr. President, none of us here today are oblivious to the criticism that is leveled against government and challenges we face as a country. However, the answer does not lie in complaining and continually pointing fatal flaws. To quote the words of Adrian Gore at the last investment conference, we must change the narrative. As an industry, we welcome the National Freight Logistics Roadmap and Framework for private sector participation in key logistics assets. Newlyn is ready and able to contribute to the development of critical logistics infrastructure. This launch of the terminal today is just the beginning. We look forward to collaborating with government, Transnet, and industry in a symbiotic manner to develop common user infrastructure to facilitate the development of emerging miners. We have several projects in the pipeline, and allow me to touch on some of them briefly. First and foremost, in reference to our commitment at last year's investment conference, is our very exciting but first in the world development of our near zero dust emission manganese handling and storage facility in the Port of Coca, which will greatly improve manganese logistics in South Africa. This $4 billion investment was pledged at last year's SA Investment Conference, and Newlyn has partnered with leading global OEMs to bring leading global technology for bunker handling material to South Africa. Apart from the significant efficiency and environmental benefits, the project would potentially accelerate the movement of manganese from the port of Kobeta to the port of Kucha, thereby allowing the port of Kobeta to be repurposed. It may please you to know, Mr. President, that in this development of ours in Kucha, we require no capital investment from Transnet or government. It is purely a private sector initiative. Our next project is Saldanha. We are well underway in developing a similar project to Kucha using the same technology for iron ore in the port of Saldanha. This project will address three critical challenges, namely, increase the environmental cap from 60 million tons, address the issue of dust emissions, and of course the iron ore stockpile challenges within the port of Saldanha, as well as address the aging tippler infrastructure. Our project in Saldanha will undoubtedly facilitate the growth of emerging miners. Bokubai, I'm pleased to announce that Newlyn assembled international consortium to respond to TNPA's request for qualification for the Bokubai rail and port infrastructure in Northern Cape. Our consortium was one of three qualified to bid for this particular project, the other two being the Port of Rotterdam and a French consortium. We are indeed looking forward to being part of the first ever private sector initiative in the development of a port and rail infrastructure in the Northern Cape. As if those are not enough challenges for us at Newlyn, we've also embarked on gas to power. Newlyn recognizes the role of natural gas as a transition fuel in South Africa's latest integrated resource plan and has secured land and environmental approvals for the development of 320 megawatts closed-cycle gas to power in Richards Bay. In our discussion with our prospective partners and leading global gas power producers on the project, each of them, as well as all our bankers, have raised significant concerns around the bankability of the current RFP in its current format. We hope that these concerns will be satisfactorily addressed to make South Africa's energy generation mix more stable. Creating a supportive environment for projects such as these can immediately add critical logistics and energy infrastructure for South Africa, which provides significant benefits to emerging and established miners to enable them to retain the competitive edge in commodities such as manganese. I am particularly proud of our approach at Newlyn in creating an innovative social contract where, in our role as developer and the communities in which we operate, we are committed to ensuring that the communities are uplifted through training and are used in our developments. Once skilled, these communities members are certified to work in other developments. We need to work together and act boldly for us to reimagine South African logistics infrastructure, which fundamentally improves lives. In the end, this is all that matters: our South African and African people. Our success as an industry is not only measured by the number of square meters we develop, but rather also by the lives we touch and improve. Newlyn is a proudly South African company. We have not made a single investment of any amount in any country outside South Africa. Our future is inextricably linked to the success of SA Inc. We owe it to the next generation to pave a new and sustainable path for infrastructure development in our great country. We must not fail Indeed, Mr. President, let's do more together. Tuma mina. Thank you.
A beautiful way to end that off, Tuma mina. They say that a picture paints 1,000 words. So please help me cast your eyes on the screen and watch this video.
The Newlyn Group was established in 1996 to engage in opportunities for black participation within the port logistics sector, a sector which previously precluded people of color. Newlyn's core expertise lies in the identification, conceptualization, design and construction of transformational logistics infrastructure positioned along key logistics corridors or logistics hubs. Our facilities are designed with the objective of maximizing operational efficiencies to drive long-term competitive advantages and sustainability for our tenants. Newlyn's developments service a broad cross-section of cargo types, including consumer goods, dry bulk commodities, and containerized cargo. The Newlyn Group is also executing a pipeline of transformational infrastructure projects in the bulk mineral logistics and energy sectors. Our creativity and understanding of operational strategies have culminated in the innovative design and construction of bespoke storage facilities that have created value to our clients by improving operational efficiencies and being environmentally sustainable.
Now is the time where all of us should lend a hand. Now is the time for each one of us to say, South Africa, send me.
Newlyn is supportive of the South African government strategy to attract private investment into critical infrastructure and to migrate freight from road to rail. As such, we have developed innovative solutions that deliver socio-economic benefits in an environmentally sustainable manner, thereby enabling economic growth through positively impacting the logistics landscape in South Africa. Building on our track record of delivering large-scale infrastructure projects, we continue to engage government and various stakeholders to facilitate our investments in strategic, coastal, inland, and intermodal logistics hubs. At the 2019 edition of the South African Investment Conference, Newlyn pledged 3.1 billion rand of investment towards developing the Newlyn Park Bayhead Rail Terminal site at Bayhead. This multi-product terminal is based on global best practice intermodal facility design and is the single largest warehouse development in South African history. The site was completed in 2023 and comprises of 640,000 square meters of warehousing, rail sidings, and open storage. The Bayhead terminal has created over 1,000 permanent jobs and enhances the optimization of the NatCor rail corridor between Johannesburg and Durban, with the potential to significantly increase revenue to Transnet. To leverage the Bayhead investment and enhance its ESG compliance, a further project is planned on the site. The establishment of a 30-megawatt rooftop solar park, potentially enabling the Port of Durban to be the first port in Africa to be powered by renewable energy. This progressive port rail terminal facility integrates road, rail, and container park facilities with linkage into the port. Some other significant Newlyn investments include the Ashgate site, a 38,000 square meter fully compliant J1 chemical facility built to the highest international standards and a unique design which our client has replicated at other international facilities. The Richards Bay Sulphur Facility, a modern bulk handling property of 55,000 square meters, handles 260,000 tons of sulphur every year. The facility is the only fully compliant bulk import sulphur storage and handling facility in South Africa. Its integrated rail and road terminal also has dual rail facilities that can handle a block train. Newlyn owns a considerable land bank across South Africa for future logistics warehousing development. Newlyn is channeling its experience in infrastructure development to target opportunities in bulk minerals and liquid bulk storage in support of South Africa's long-term mining sustainability and energy security needs. At the 2023 SA Investment Conference, Newlyn pledged an investment of 4 billion rand towards the development of a world-first, near-zero dust emission manganese back-of-port terminal adjacent to the port of Ngqura. Newlyn has, together with leading global OEMs, developed this proprietary solution for efficient storage and handling of bulk materials. The solution is projected to create significant increases in rail system throughput on South Africa's heavy-haul rail lines, in addition to mitigating the public health environmental damage caused by the current open stockpiling of mineral ores at South African ports. The project will deliver significant socio-economic benefits to the Eastern Cape and national economy, enabling greater access to the export markets for emerging miners in South Africa. Newlyn is also developing several solar PV projects on the roofs of Newlyn-owned buildings in order to supply clean, renewable energy to our customers and onto South Africa's electricity grid. Newlyn recognizes the role of natural gas as a transition fuel in South Africa's integrated resource plan and has secured the land and environmental approvals for the development of a 320 megawatt closed-cycle gas-to-power project in Richards Bay. Newlyn is also developing an efficient liquid bulk storage project in order to assist South Africa grow its import and inland petrochemical liquid fuel storage and handling capacity. This undertaking aims to support projected demand growth, as well as increase South Africa's strategic fuel reserves. These developments will also promote the transformation of the petrochemical industry in South Africa by providing storage capacity to new BEE entrants. The ability to build insightful, state-of-the-art infrastructure can be attributed to Newlyn's innate strength, which is our people, a dynamic team with the proven capabilities of applying global experience and the latest innovation to meet national infrastructure objectives by creating tailored solutions that enhance clients' operational efficiencies and meet the most exacting environmental standards. The Newlyn Group, proudly South African, creators of smart infrastructure.
I'm absolutely just humbled and super proud of the Newlyn team. It is a touching and a very moving video. Thank you. Thank you once again for all the work that you do for the nation. I'm going to ask the next two speakers to please come up to stage. In the interest of time, we are running out of time. If you could please keep your speeches as succinct as possible. I'm going to say no longer than 2 minutes. But these are messages of support by international investors. So please help me welcome to stage the Chief Operating Officer of Steinweg Bridge, Mr. Sheldon Cockcroft, and he will be joined by the Managing Director of Access World, Mr. Donovan Bissett. Please, a round of applause as they make their way to stage.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency, President Cyril Ramaphosa, dignitaries, honored guests, and colleagues. Raj, thank you very much for spending your 3.4 billion on this wonderful infrastructure that you presented to us. Sadly, you stopped just short of air conditioning, but thank you. My name is Sheldon Cockcroft. I'm the Group COO of the Seesteinweg Bridge, a company that has been operating in South Africa and Southern Africa since 1980, formerly known as Bridge Shipping, and in 2012 we became part of the Seesteinweg Global Group, which is a international warehousing, logistics and port operator. They have supported us in the initiatives that have allowed us to grow as a business, and what you've witnessed outside today is where we've landed. I think world-class logistics infrastructure and reliable operations are a key enabler to economic growth. We've been on this site in different shapes, sizes and forms for the last 20 years, and today we certainly are very proud to be operating in the largest container pack operation, I would say, in sub-Saharan Africa. In our section of the facility, we handle in excess of 2 million tons a year, the majority of which is containerized for export, and really aimed at providing seamless logistics, if you like, for very key customers in South Africa. We're a big user of rail, and I emphasize the word big. Cape Core, Concord, we run 2 shuttles a day on average into the port here, which alleviates road congestion in the port. We rail from here into Zambia, into Zimbabwe, and we also run our own train sets in Tanzania, Zambia, and the DRC. Our job every day is to find efficient solutions to move cargo in a constrained and challenging environment. We are cargo transit and throughput facilities. What you see here enables cargo to move in and out of the port, and it's not designed for cargo to dwell. To meet those obligations of our large-scale exporters and importers, that fluidity needs to improve. We are big proponents of South Africa Incorporated. We work hard every day to dispel the negative narrative that engulfs our port and rail operations, and we do that through finding our own creative and efficient solutions to move cargo. We have lost a lot of cargo that used to transit the port of Durban and other ports of South Africa to and from our neighboring countries through other ports, and we are absolutely determined to bring that cargo back. We are starting to see the signs of it, and we are starting to see cargoes return to our shores that were lost to the eastern seaboard, the ports of Beira, Dar es Salaam, Mombasa, and Walvis Bay. So that is very encouraging for us as logistics operators. We continue to invest in South Africa to grow our business and our employment, as evidenced by our long-term commitment to this large space at the Newlyn terminal. We congratulate Newlyn on the successful completion of the project, and we look forward to fully functioning rail operations and port efficiencies to get the most out of our commitment to this investment and to the customers that we serve. I thank you very much.
Thanks, Sheldon. I honestly didn't believe I'd be saying this one day, but good afternoon, Your Excellency, Cyril Ramaphosa. Thank you. Honourable Mr. Minister, Mr. Ibrahim Patel, the Premier, Mrs. Dube Ngube, Honourable Mayor Kwaunda, Transit Acting GC, Mr. Pakpomaloka, honoured guests and colleagues. We're delighted to be part of the opening of the Newland Park Bayhead Rail Terminal. This facility forms a remarkable part of the growth of Access World's business in South Africa. From humble beginnings back in 1991, we actually started operating in a small warehouse not very far from where we are today. Over the course of the last 33 years, the company has grown our footprint in South Africa significantly, and now we are proudly part of a truly global organization with operations in over 30 countries and more than 160 warehouse facilities under our management. I'm very proud to announce that The home that we live in today, the Newlyn terminal, is our single biggest warehouse in our group portfolio, which is a very proud moment for us. Our dealings with the Newlyn Group go back several years. So when Mr. Raj Mamarkan approached us with an opportunity to be part of this exciting project, we jumped at the project. We took tenancy in the first warehouse on the 1st of April 2021, and shortly thereafter moved into our second facility in 2022. We then got to our third warehouse, which is again the structure you guys sit in today, in September of last year. And collectively, over those 3 years, our permanent employment complement has grown by a fantastic 62%. In terms of total numbers, in terms of rail, which obviously this facility is well designed for, last year in 2023, we did 45% of our container movements by rail into the port. I'm very pleased to say that as of this year, we are sitting at 60%, with the ultimate objective and strategy to get to 100% of all movements in and out of our facility. In conclusion, Access World are extremely proud to be a part of the Newlyn Park Bayhead Rail Terminal, which has changed our business in South Africa completely. We remain dedicated in playing our role with the continued success of this fantastic facility, and our long-term commitment to Newlyn reaffirms our belief in South Africa. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you so much for keeping it as succinct as possible. I know it's quite difficult to cut it short, so thank you for indulging us there. I'd now like to call onto stage the Minister of Trade and Industry, somebody who I hold in very high regard. I wouldn't be standing here if he didn't give me the opportunity to MC the South African Investment Conference last year and see it all through. And here we are standing today, so please a round of applause for Minister Ibrahim Patel.
Well, first, thank you very much, Program Director, His Excellency President Ramaphosa, Premier Dube Ngube, Executive Mayor Kaunda, Mr. Raj Balmakun and Firdaus Kuvadia of Newlyn, Mr. Sheldon Crockcroft and Donovan Bissett from Steinberg Bridge and Access World Africa, Transnet Acting GCE, Mr. Pashla Mushlaka, workers of Newlyn, members of the media. I have the pleasant task of introducing His Excellency President Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa. It is said that it takes a vision to drive a country. 3 words represent the President's vision relevant for the event today: investment, logistics, and exports. I recall a conversation with President Ramaphosa in 2018, very shortly after his election as the new President of the Republic, when the President said, "I want to set a 5-year investment target, Minister, and you and your team should begin to focus on it. I want the target to be bold, so I'm giving you a target of 1.2 trillion rand. And I want you to annually report publicly to the nation how far we have come." That was new, ladies and gentlemen, something we had not done before. And that decision required many different things, from beginning the process of fixing our infrastructure, to unblocking investment challenges, to stimulating domestic and export growth. Today, President Ramaphosa is launching 2 significant events here in KZN. Together they are worth 4 billion rand in total. This official opening of the logistics and warehousing facility of Newlyn, and this afternoon the expanded Tetra Pak Manufacturing facility in Pinetown. And it comes off the back of many other activities launched by the President or one of the ministers. The launch of the production facility for the Toyota Cross in Prospectum, the expansion of the Sapisaiko wood pulp plant in Umkomaas, the massive factory called Hesto Harnesses in Kwadukuza, employing 4,000 workers, the opening of Kerry Foods in Hammersdale, the expansion of Rainbow Chickens in Hammersdale with 750 new workers in poultry. Each of these announcements at the investment conference, followed by an opening of the facility. It shows those investment conferences are beginning to yield results. By April last year, we had exceeded the target and we had reached pledges of 1.5 trillion rand. Mr. President, 52 of the pledges are for KwaZulu Natal itself, businesses with a footprint in this province. 64 billion rand of that money was pledged in businesses here in KZN, creating real jobs, jobs for young people. But growth needs a strong and competitive logistics system. Mr. President, you launched a new partnership, a partnership with the private sector to fix our transport logistics systems. And today we see an example of this. It required the business community to draw on their talents and merge it with what we have. And I want to appreciate the excellent work of Minister Gordon and the team at Transnet that made this partnership possible. This facility is a key hub for African growth, for exports of minerals from other African countries. And as we, ladies and gentlemen, walk through the warehouses, the President asked questions about what's the origin of this mineral, where is it coming from, where is it going to? And so it brings me to the vision of the President that we need to promote greater trade between and among African countries. On the 31st of January this year, President Ramaphosa launched the start of trade under the African Continental Free Trade Area here at the port of Durban. It included containers of South African-made grinding media balls destined for Ghana, and refrigerators made here in KZN, in Ladysmith, destined for Kenya. And so, ladies and gentlemen, friends, you can see how the vision of the President has shaped our drive on investment, our drive to fix the logistics systems, and our drive to export more under the African Continental Free Trade Area. In spite of tremendous headwinds experienced in the past 4 years, headwinds of the COVID-19 pandemic and the global recession that knocked the South African economy, in spite of the price shocks caused by the war in Ukraine on fuel, on food, on fertilizer prices, in spite of the damage caused by floods and unrest, we are seeing real, tangible signs of a boost in investment, of the fixing of the energy and transport logistics systems, and of increased exports under the AFC FTA. Ladies and gentlemen, we've had the support acts. Let's welcome the main speaker. Please join me in welcoming to the podium His Excellency President Cyril Ramaphosa, whose vision we are practically demonstrating in the progress we have seen here today, in the jobs that have been created, in the video footage that demonstrate what has been done. Please join me, ladies and gentlemen, if we can stand and welcome the President very, very warmly to the stage. Mr. President, the workers of Newlyn, the audience await you. They want to hear what your vision is, and they want to appreciate what you have done in opening the doors here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's be seated, please. Program Director, Ms. Nkadimeng, Minister of Trade and Industry and Competition, Mr. Ibrahim Patel, Premier of KwaZulu Natal Province, Ms. Nomusa Dube-Ncube, the Mayor of our metro, Mr. Kaunda, the Chief Executive Officer of the Newland Group, Mr. Rajendra Balmukun, the Chief Operating Officer of C. Steinberg Bridge, and Mr. Sheldon Cockcroft, the Managing Director of Access World, and all of you, the staff who work in this wonderful facility, and ladies and gentlemen. Today is what I characterize as a great day. A great day because it is a day on which we mark a great achievement, the completion and launch of the Newlyn Park Bayhead Rail Terminal as a project at the Port of Durban is not only what I would call a much-needed boost to South Africa's logistics infrastructure network, it is the attainment of a vision of a man who stood at the investment conferences that we've held and articulated a clear direction where he wanted to go as a businessman, as a leader of the workers who are gathered here today. This terminal is also a symbol of recovery and resilience for the city of Durban, for the eThekwini Metro, for KwaZulu Natal, and indeed for our country as a whole. Provinces that experienced devastating flooding. We all recall seeing the images of the damage that was caused to the Port of Durban at the time, with containers just floating around almost at sea, especially in and around Bayhead Road. We saw much damage. We know the extensive work and effort that it took to restore operations and to get the port and its associated infrastructure up and running again. These were all significant setbacks, setbacks that could have knocked us down, that could have prevented us from moving forward, and that could have, as Mr. Balkomun that I'm sitting next to here saying, it could have made us to give up. And he was whispering to me as we sit at the table, he said, we are never going to give up on this country. And I'd like to congratulate him and thank him for having that never give up spirit. So thank you very much for never giving up. I have often said that we are a resilient people. We are a people who don't give up. We are people who follow in the footsteps of Nelson Mandela, Oliver Reginald Tambo, and many others who, even when it was dark, with Nelson Mandela in prison for life, never gave up. And we therefore follow in the footsteps of those who never gave up. And we are grateful that we have a businessman who never saw any message of giving up. And that is why he was talking about changing the narrative, having a different narrative. And the establishment of this facility is precisely that. This is what is changing the narrative about South Africa, about KwaZulu Natal, about Durban. This is written all over this building. Never give up and change the narrative to a positive one. So thank you very much for actualizing the changing of the narrative. We can all be immensely proud of what has been achieved here and of the persevering, the pioneering South African spirit that this new terminal embodies. It also illustrates what can be achieved when government and business work together. The Newlyn Park Bayhead Rail Terminal project was one of the announcements that was made at the South African Investment Conference in 2019. And it is significant in the context of expanding South Africa's logistical infrastructure and enhancing our global competitiveness, that today we sit under the roof of this great facility. Some people, as they heard commitments being made at our conference, just said these are dreams. These are just mere pledges. And in a very derisive way, they tended to dismiss, particularly some elements in the media, some analysts, and some who were just bystanders. And today, we are here to prove that what was pledged at that conference has actually happened. It was not a dream. If it was a dream, this is a dream that has come true. And thank you very much for making this dream come true. This is a multi-product terminal based on global best practice. And it is a facility that surpasses all that we have in our country. And I'm told that it is the single largest warehouse development in South Africa to date. The completed site, which consists of 640,000 square meters of warehousing, rail sidings, and open storage. This facility has the capability of receiving 7 full block trains of 100 TEUs each daily. And this is the strength of the facility that we have put up here. The terminal will facilitate the movement of sea, rail, and road cargo through the port of Durban via a multimodal hub, providing for the handling, storage, loading, and movement of a variety of cargo type. This includes hard and soft commodities in bulk and break bulk, containerized cargo, and project cargo. The embedded rail capacity in this terminal will accelerate the movement of cargo from road to rail in line with the objectives of the National Land Transport Framework. This project is a good model of, as I said, public-private partnership. The terminal has been built on land that's leased from Transnet, and the partnership with Newlyn will assist in improving operational efficiency right across the board. This precinct will address some of the challenges we've been experiencing in logistics, infrastructure, and network industries that have had a negative impact on the economic growth of our country and the creation of jobs. Now, this is making a very direct and positive contribution to addressing the challenges that we have been facing, challenges that we are addressing in earnest. And in order for this rail terminal project to deliver full benefits to South Africa for the purpose that it was designed for, it has to have trains and slots to be made available to clients. This will lead to a significant increase in revenue for Transnet and NATCO corridor through the migration of cargo from road to rail. Aside from the investment of approximately 3.4 billion, some 4,000 direct construction jobs have been created. And now I'm pleased to know that more than 1,000 employees are currently employed full-time in this facility, and this number is expected to grow. Now, any business that will set up business and create so many jobs at one go, temporary jobs while the facility is being built, and thereafter up to 1,000 more jobs and rising, is a business that I applaud to the highest decibel, which I would like you to join me in doing as well. Now, the other important aspect, of course, which we urge businesses to do as they set up or as they conduct business, is that they should work together with other businesses. They must get the supplies of the implements that will go into setting up their facilities from the local market, from the small, medium enterprises, from service providers. And this is what has happened here. And I'd like to express my gratitude once again that this indeed has happened. All what we see here, this great facility, was built by local people. Much of the material that has gone into this has been sourced locally, and many of those who participated in setting this facility up were also local providers. So this we should be grateful for, because it feeds into our economy and it emboldens even your small, medium enterprise players, because they sharpen their own wits. They see how they can go about getting new customers and markets. So thank you very much indeed. And in the end, the upgrading of the local port infrastructure is critical to the success, as we've already heard, of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. And this new terminal will facilitate the swift movement of goods from South Africa to the rest of the continent, and indeed beyond as well, as we have already heard and seen. We also commend Newlyn's pledge at the 2023 South Africa Investment Conference to invest 4 billion rand into the development of a near-zero dust emission manganese back-to-port storage and handling facility project at Kocha, as well as in similar facility in Saldanha for iron ore. So I really want to say that Mr. Balkumun, you do deliver. You were applauding me for delivering by coming here. I do just a little bit. You do the heavy lifting. And now, as you announce that you are going to set up, you invest 4 billion rand, I do believe you, and I know that you are going to do it. You've got big dreams, and we are here to support you as you go from Kucha right through to Saldanha Bay and to Boegoebaai. We stand behind you as government, and we will be there to support you, because we have seen what you can achieve. Your achievement here speaks volumes about your capability, and we applaud you for that. Thank you very much indeed. And we also wish you well with the completion of these projects that in the main are going to benefit South Africa and establish the emerging miners and their communities of the Eastern Cape, the Western Cape and the Northern Cape. We recently hosted the Sustainable Infrastructure Development Symposium, where priority infrastructure development projects were announced in port, rail and roads, and I urge the private sector to partner with us on these, to partner with us in putting up the infrastructure that is needed in our country. The infrastructure is the flywheel, as I've often said, of growing our economy. And I commend all those who have become involved in the construction of various infrastructure facilities. But I also would like to congratulate and also acknowledge the role that has been played by C. Steinberg Bridge and Access World, two foreign investors in the logistics sector in our country who are using this facility for committing to be part of its existing future. And congratulations once again to Newlyn and Transnet. We have no doubt that this world-class facility will play a pivotal role in improving our logistics sector well into the future. And we look forward to you utilizing technology, utilizing new methods of doing things. We look forward to you employing more people into your facilities as you grow and expand. I'd like you to know that government stands behind you, government will support, and government will go out of its way to also incentivize you to reach higher levels of growth. And yes, you need assistance in closing certain deals and agreements. Government will play a key role in helping you to reach that. You've already told me that all you ever need is one document to be signed, and in 24 months you will have built even much of a greater facility. And I do believe that, and that is why I applaud you for being so open-minded and being so supportive to the deepening of the relationship between business and government, and may I add, labor as well. For we do know that this country can truly only move forward if there is that practical compact between business, government, and labor and civil society. And it is that potent package that can catapult our country to higher levels. Ladies and gentlemen, we are a country that is surging forward. We have faced enormous challenges and difficulties in the past 5 years, but here we are, still standing. Here we are, still an attractive destination to investors. Here we are, investors still look at us. And here we are, we have business people who still exude visions, great plans of how we can surge forward. And here we are, we have a government that is addressing all the challenges, particularly in the network industries and infrastructure. We want Durban Port to return to its days of great glory. And it is for this reason that I have decided to set up a presidential eThekwini working group that is going to focus on addressing the challenges that we are facing here in eThekwini, to get eThekwini, to get the Durban Port to shine again, to go back to its glory days, to be the much needed port or sought after port in the world, because Durban occupies a most strategic space in seafare, where many importers and exporters have often wanted to use Durban, and we are going to be addressing, yes, the challenges that Durban faces. The collaboration between national government, the provincial government, and the local government is solidifying. We are addressing the challenges that are given rise to by the water supply, the challenges that are given rise to by infrastructure, the challenges that are given rise to by how the municipality works. And all those are now going to be addressed through the collaboration and cooperation at the Presidential eThekwini Working Group, with all of us working together. And I've said that I want this group to report back to me every 3 weeks to tell me exactly how we are repositioning eThekwini, how we are addressing the challenges in Durban Port. We're also going to be working with the unions, with business. Transnet is in the middle of all this. And so all the problems and challenges that we have in this part of the country are now being addressed in a pointed way through collaboration, through everyone working together. And let me say that all I have seen is a commitment for working together. The Director General in the Presidency, Ms. Baleni, is going to be co-chairing this Presidential eThekwini Working Group together with Mr. Mike Mabuyakulu, who has done a lot of work here in KZN and has led many processes, now working together with national departments, with the provincial government as led by Ms. Nomusa Dube-Ncube, and our Mayor, Nkolisi Kaunda. We will never lose. We can only win. And this is the team that is going to revitalize eThekwini, reposition Durban Port, and make sure that this part of our country, which is a real artery of the economy of South Africa, is repositioned and repackaged for success. That's precisely what we are now going to do. So, Mr. Jayendra Balkamun, we thank you very much for having had the courage to have this facility built in the way it is, and you are a man of great faith and confidence in the future of this country, and I'd like you, together with other business people, to participate as we refashion, as we reposition eThekwini, as we ensure that Durban becomes the port of choice once again to the international community. So I thank you very much for the businessman that you are. You are fitting into the great plans that we have. For we have a great vision about where Durban, where eThekwini Metro should be. And you are part of the architecture that we have to take this metro and this port forward. So thank you very much. I'm really glad that you were able to invite me to come to this facility. It's a great facility, wonderfully constructed, wonderfully done. You said you would introduce me to the architects who put up this facility. This facility could easily be put up anywhere in the world, in the rest of the continent, in London, in New York, anywhere. It's a world-class facility. Thank you for having it here in South Africa and here in Durban. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. President, if I could ask that you please remain on stage. Can I ask you to please remain on stage? We're going to do a photo op right now. Please help me welcome back to stage none other than Mr. Palmerkin. Please, a round of applause as he comes back to stage. So we're going to put technology to use right now. And what we're going to do is have a moment so that we can remember this day forever. And behind us on the screen, we're going to unveil a digital plaque from the presidency to Newlyn itself. At this point, I'd also like to ask the EXCO of Newlyn to please make their way to stage as well for a photo opportunity to join them, and also Minister Patel. If you could please make your way to stage for a photo opportunity, that's the Newlyn EXCO and Minister Patel. A round of applause, please. This is the EXCO that runs Newlyn. The stairs. Do you want to use the stairs? That's what I mean. Let's come to the stairs. Okay. If all the shorter people can please come to the front step, just this one step down. Just one step down. Yes, right there. And then the rest will come behind. You want one more down? One more down. Yes. Great. We would also like to please call to stage the Premier and the Mayor to join the photo opportunity, please. And the moment is sealed in a picture. It will last forever and ever. I want to thank you all at this time for coming through, for helping us celebrate. Thank you